How are you all doing, folks, and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the ALCHEMOTO workshop. It's been a while since we've been in here. We've been too busy out on them roads riding, which I hope you've enjoyed if you've watched some of the riding series. But the reason we are back in the garage today is the 48 is broken. I wouldn't say broken to the fact that it's unrideable, but the fact that the last 3 or 4 times we've been out on the bike, I've had the engine management light come on and it wouldn't start, then after throwing up around 5 or 6 different errors on the bike. So we've had a look at it and we've sort of narrowed things down. We've had to look at the ECM, the BCM, all the control modules, and then look into where the error is coming from. So the first thing we're going to do is replace the battery. Now the battery is 5 years old on this bike. It's a genuine Harley Davidson battery, which is here. And we've replaced that with a Moto bat, which is widely recognised as a great replacement battery for the Harley Davidson range. So that's what we're going to do first, kick the bike up and then see if we get any more of these error codes and show you how to clear those if you get them on your bike and give you an understanding and an idea of what they mean. So let's get cracking. Okay, so here's the replacement battery for our Sportster, and there's a genuine one there, and here is the new one. Now this is the AGM battery, which is absorbed glass mat technology, which means it's still lead acid battery, but it's absorbed in a glass mat, so it's called a gel battery. And the reason being for that, it stops spillage and swashing about and all that, so it's not prone to vibration and things like that, which is perfect for any Harley Davidson. If you look at these 2 batteries, when you do take it out of the box, you'll find that this is slightly shorter, but it's the same dimensions on the width and the length, just the depth, and that's why they give you this little tray in the box. Pop that in and there it is, exactly how you want it. Your terminals on these, if you look, they are sort of both on both sides, the negative, negative, positive, positive. So it doesn't matter about the polarity if it's different on your bike, hence on the off side of your bike it might be a positive lead. And if it isn't, you can swing it round to the negative side. So it's a sort of dual polarity battery, which I like that idea. Okay, so ours in the off side is positive to the off side of the bike if you're approaching the bike from the left hand side or the near side. So we can leave these 2 plastic caps on here, so we're not leaving the metalwork exposed underneath. Okay, let's go and fit the battery. We will just take a short break because the good lady has just brought me some sausage rolls and a brew. So I'll just get these down as we'll be back in a bit. Okay, so fitting the batteries on these things is a little bit of a challenge. Make sure you've got all the connections to go back on where you can see them. It's quite easy to miss. So if you count how many, I know I've got 4 on the positive and 3 on the negative. Okay, so I've got 1, 2 and 3 there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we've got the battery in, we're just going to pop the main fuse back in and then turn the ignition on and start the bike. And I'm guessing now, because it's been off for a while, we're not going to have any error codes, so we're just going to do the wobble of wire is where I think the problem wire was, and if it doesn't come on, we've probably cured the problem. Now, I had an ABS fault as well as a BCM fault and speedo fault as well. There was about 4 or 5. Now, I don't have any Harley-Davidson technical plug-in tools. They are quite expensive. It's something I'm looking at for the home user, because you have to pay for the updates and maps and whatnot, but that plugs into your diagnostic port and gives you a closer reading. So instead of your Harley fault codes coming up on your speedometer, these will be easily read then on the screen and pinpoint whether it's a control module or a wiring fault. So it just saves you a little bit of money and time as well. But anyway, what we do is now we plug in main fuse, and then you can hear the bike. So if you remember, we had the main fuse in with ignition, so now what we're going to do is actually just close that off. Okay, so we know now that the battery is okay. We know that the error codes have disappeared off the screen. So what I'm going to do now is just kick the bike back up and show you how to find the fault codes through the diagnostic part on your bike, and then how to clear them just in case. So we still don't know whether we've rectified the problem with the ABS line, which I fettled with the other day, and also just by changing the battery, but we're going to go through that now with you. Okay, so the first thing you want to be doing, let's just come out a little bit on the camera, is holding down, we still can't see, holding down your scroll button here. Okay, and then I know I've got a different speedo fitted, but this applies to your standard. Okay, and then switch ignition on. And then you'll see DIAG, which is diagnostic. Okay, and then just with the left-hand scroll button, we can scroll through, and then it says ECM, no faults found. BCM, no faults found. Speedo, no faults found. And ABS, no faults found. Okay. If you do have a Y on that for a yes, then you hold it down, and then it will bring up the code. See, it's showing there none. And then we'll go back through the scroll again. So diagnostics, ECM, no. BCM, no. Body control module. Speedo, no. And ABS, no again. If you hold down on the ECM there, hold the scroll button down on the left hand side, and then no faults found. Hold that again. That's the part number, by the way, the PN, for each of the modules. So if you do have a problem with it and the fault won't clear for any reason, and it's not a wiring fault and it's a control module fault, that will be the part numbers for that particular part. The BCM, the body control module, no faults, hold down again. Okay, none, and hit it one more time, and that's the part number for that particular module. Okay, so at the moment that's looking good, but my problem started after hitting a pothole when we was coming back from the big one ride out, and it probably still could be a ghost in the wiring, so we need to run the bike really to test it. But what we're going to do is just, we're going to fake a fault really, so we can just go through clearing the code with you on the screen. So we'll just switch the bike back off. What we'll do is we'll just undo the front O2 sensor. for the keen-eyed of you, you will notice then I had the engine management light on the dash. So what we're going to do now is hold the scroll button down. Back into diagnostics. And then you can see now we've got an ECM fault, which is showing yes. If we hold that down, you can see we've got that code P0031. And if you've got, and you can download the list of all the Harley fault codes. If you haven't got that, it's a good idea just to put them on a PDF down to your phone. And if you're ever broke down anywhere, you can bring up this code and you can reference to it and you know exactly what that fault is. So we know that the P0031 is going to be an O2 sensor fault. Simple as that. Okay, now when you plug that in, even if you switch the bike off, okay, and then scroll button again on the left hand side, start button, diagnostics, ECM yes, hold it down, P0031, hold it down again, clear, hold your button, okay, ECM no, BCM no, Speedo no, ABS no, ECM no. So we've cleared that fault. So we know what the fault was. So if that was a wiring fault and you've repaired it and you go back into your system, clear the fault like that, ignition off, ignition back on. Okay, so all good so far. We've got no fault codes on the bike. We've started off by replacing the battery because the fault code I had on, which was a major code, V in is a voltage unstable problem with the bike. So the first point of call is going to be the battery for that particular code. We've shown you how to clear the codes for any particular one. Now, if you have a problem and you go to clear code and it will not clear it, then obviously that fault is still active. So then obviously you've got to repair it before it will clear the code. But sometimes on these bikes, because of the way they are with these modern engines, with the ECMs, body control modules and camber systems, they're quite finicky. And if you do go over it, like I went over a pothole, and that's what aggravated my problem with the bike. And it could be just a matter of a pulled wire or a shaft wire somewhere along the line. Or something where maybe a bit of water and moisture in a plug or something like that. So that's what you've got to do, is just isolate that problem. So if you can find the fault code, it'll isolate it to one of those modules and then it's somewhere in that line. So the first point of call I would suggest is just to clean out all your multi-plugs and find out there's no green corrosion on any of the pins. Voltage regulators, stabilizers are very prone to doing that as well. So see if you can isolate the problem yourself. If the fault code will clear, then you know you've rectified it just by doing that. If not, it might be more in depth, being one of your modules or an actual wiring fault where a wire is broke and needs replacing. But for now, that's the simplest way. We're going to put the rest of this bike back together, hopefully get out on the road together and give it a test. If that problem comes on again, and personally I might start looking into some diagnostic equipment, not just for my bike, but for doing other Sportsters and other Harleys in the garage. It just gives me a quicker option to get to the root of any problems. But hope you've learned something just by resetting your codes and finding out how to read the codes on your bike on this, and obviously by fitting the battery. So let's keep our fingers crossed that the fault doesn't come back with my 48. Safe riding to all of you guys out there, and we will see you soon. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe if it's the first time you're watching ALCHEMOTO. Plenty to look at back on the channel, and I'll be seeing you soon. But for now, ALCHEMOTO is signing out.